Hello and welcome to IELTSPro.uk. I'm your teacher for today, and we're going to tackle an IELTS academic reading question together. We'll be looking at the multiple choice question type, which sometimes appears as true, false, or not given. Now, I know this one can feel a little tricky, but don't worry, with the right strategy, you can definitely master it. So let's treat this as a warm up. Relax, focus, and remember, our goal today is to practice the method, not to be perfect. Let's get comfortable with the passage first, and then we'll dive into the questions. If you'd like to solve this question yourself, just click the link in the description. And for many more practice questions, visit eltspro.uk, your place, to get ready for IELTS with confidence. The Art of Cartography. First, let's look at our title, The Art of Cartography. Cartography simply means map making. The word art suggests the passage won't just be about the technical or scientific side, it will likely explore the history, creativity, and cultural importance of maps. So, we can expect a historical overview of how map making has evolved. Now, here's a simple game plan for this type of question. First, read the question statement very carefully and underline the key ideas. Then, scan the passage to find the paragraph that discusses those ideas. Once you've found it, read that part in detail and compare it directly to the statement. Remember, don't use your own knowledge. The answer must be in the text. Be very careful with words that change the meaning, like all, only, or first. And watch out for paraphrasing, where the passage uses different words to express the same idea. And if you can't find the information, don't be afraid to choose not given. Paragraph 1. This is the introduction. It defines cartography and tells us the passage will cover its history, from clay tablets to digital globes, connecting it to exploration, trade, and science. Paragraph 2. This paragraph covers the early history, starting with the Babylonian map and then moving to the ancient Greeks. Key names here are Claudius Ptolemy and his work Geographia, which was influential for over 1,400 years. Paragraph 3. This one focuses on a major change during the Age of Discovery in the 15th and 16th centuries. Anchor words are printing press and the famous Mercator projection from 1569, which was important for navigation. Paragraph 4. This paragraph describes how map-making became more scientific in the 18th and 19th centuries. It introduces a key technique, triangulation, and mentions the establishment of national mapping agencies for military and economic use. Paragraph 5. And the final paragraph brings us to the modern era, the 20th century and the digital age. Important terms here are aerial photography, satellite imagery, and geographic information systems, GIS, which make maps common in our daily lives. Great! So, our strategy is simple. We won't read the whole passage in detail right away. We've already scanned it and we understand its structure. It's a historical timeline of mapmaking now. We'll use the questions to guide us to the specific information we need. Now that we understand the topic and the layout of the passage, we are ready to look at the first question. Claudius Ptolemy's Geographia was a key reference for European geography for over 14 centuries. Okay, let's break down this first statement. The key ideas are Claudius Ptolemy's Geographia being a key reference and the time period, over 14 centuries. I remember seeing the name Ptolemy and Geographia in our scan of the second paragraph. Let's go back there and read carefully. True. The passage says in paragraph 2, Ptolemy's work was considered the authoritative reference on world geography in Europe for over 1,400 years. Authoritative reference is a clear paraphrase of key reference, and over 1,400 years is the same as over 14 centuries. The information matches perfectly. This option is correct. False. This option would mean the text says Ptolemy's work was not a key reference, or it was used for a much shorter time. The text directly supports the statement, so this cannot be correct. This option is incorrect. Not given. This would be the answer if the text mentioned Ptolemy but didn't say how long his work was used or how important it was. However, the passage gives us that exact information. This option is incorrect. So, after comparing the statement with the text, the information aligns exactly. The correct answer is true. A. The Babylonians were the first to apply mathematical methods to cartography. For this question, the keywords are Babylonians, the first, and mathematical methods. We need to check if the text says the Babylonians were the pioneers of using math in map-making. The second paragraph mentioned both the Babylonians and mathematics, so let's look there again. True. This option claims the statement is true. However, the text says the Babylonian maps were more symbolic than geographically precise. Then it says it was the ancient Greeks who first applied mathematical principles to map-making. This is a direct contradiction. The Greeks were first, not the Babylonians. This option is incorrect. False. This option states that the statement is false. The passage clearly states that it was the ancient Greeks, not the Babylonians, who were the first to apply mathematical principles. This directly contradicts the question's claim. Therefore, the statement is false. This option is correct. Not given. The text explicitly tells us who was the first to apply mathematical methods. Because it gives us this specific information, the answer cannot be not given. This option is incorrect. The passage directly states that the ancient Greeks were the first to use math in cartography, which means the statement about the Babylonians is incorrect. So the answer is false. B. The invention of the printing press made maps affordable for most people during the Age of Discovery. Let's analyse this. The key information we're looking for is about the printing press, whether it made maps affordable and if this was true for most people. I remember seeing printing press in the third paragraph, which talks about the Age of Discovery. True. Let's check the text. Paragraph 3 says the invention of the printing press facilitated the wider distribution of maps. Wider distribution means maps reached more places or people, but does it mean they were affordable, or that most people could buy them? The text doesn't mention the price or how many people could afford them. This option is incorrect. False. This would mean the text states that maps were asterisk, not asterisk affordable, or that the printing press made them more expensive. The passage doesn't give any information about the cost of maps at all, so we can't say the statement is false. This option is incorrect. Not given. The text tells us the printing press led to wider distribution, but it gives no details about the cost, affordable, or who could buy them, most people. Since this specific information is missing from the passage, we cannot confirm or deny the statement. This option is correct. The passage confirms the printing press helped distribute maps, but it doesn't mention anything about their price or affordability for the general public. Therefore, the answer is not given. C. Triangulation was a technique used to create comprehensive maps of entire nations. Okay, for question 4, our keywords are triangulation, technique, and its purpose, creating maps of entire nations. The term triangulation stood out in our scan of the 4th paragraph. Let's go there to verify this. True paragraph 4 describes triangulation and states that it allowed for the creation of highly detailed and accurate surveys of entire countries. Surveys of entire countries is a very close paraphrase of maps of entire nations. The text also mentions these led to comprehensive topographical maps. The information matches the statement. This option is correct. False. This would be correct if the text said triangulation was used for something else, like only small areas, or that it was not used for mapping nations. The passage says the opposite. This option is incorrect. Not given. The passage gives us a clear description of what triangulation was used for, so the answer can't be not given. This option is incorrect. The text in the 4th paragraph directly supports the statement, confirming that triangulation was used for creating detailed maps of whole countries. So the answer is true. The development of GIS occurred before the first use of aerial photography and mapmaking. Alright, our final question. The key here is the timeline. Did the development of GIS happen before or after aerial photography? Both of these terms were in the last paragraph, so let's check the sequence of events there. True. This option says GIS came first. Let's look at the text in paragraph 5. It says, "The advent of aerial photography, followed by satellite imagery. This culminated in the development of geographic information systems, GIS." The word "followed by" and the phrase "culminated in" both clearly show that aerial photography came first and GIS came later as a result. This contradicts the statement. This option is incorrect. False. This option says the statement is false. The passage clearly shows a sequence. First came aerial photography, and this later led to the development of GIS. The statement in the question gets the order wrong, saying GIS came before. Since the text shows the opposite order, the statement is false. This option is correct. Not given. The passage provides a clear chronological order for these developments. Because the information about the sequence is present, the answer cannot be not given. This option is incorrect. The passage clearly indicates that aerial photography came before GIS. The question states the opposite, so the statement is false. The correct option is BB. So, there we have it. We've worked through 5 true, false, not given questions. The most important strategies to remember are to locate the answer in the text using keywords, and then to carefully compare the statement with what the passage says. Pay close attention to words that define relationships, like first, before, or after, as they are often the key to finding the correct answer. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more IELTS questions, and follow us at iltspro.uk for complete resources and practice materials.